It's true that we know more about the surface of the moon than what is happening within our very own oceans. Seen as one of the most unexplored areas of the planet, our oceans are teeming with incredible mysteries and strange occurrences that have left experts all around the world baffled and amazed since their discoveries. In fact, few of these discoveries are as mysterious in their nature as the humanoid sea people witnessed by numerous historical figures in the past. Referred to as mermaids, these elusive half-human, half-fish hybrids are at the center of strange sightings from all around the world when discussing unexplainable ocean mysteries. One interesting story was shared by someone on Reddit. However, the story has since been deleted by the original poster. One person, though, who knew the original poster told me about the story. They said the story goes that a woman was talking to her father about the mysteries of the oceans, and they got onto the topic of mysterious creatures. Her father worked for the United States Navy and started to open up about some of the mysterious things they had witnessed. The father went into detail about how the ocean was very eerie, and that while out in the middle of it he would see and hear strange things. One of the things he said was that he would often hear whistles and voices, something that to this day he can't explain. The daughter then said that her father travelled to the Philippines, and it was here that he was told about some of the local legends. It said that he got talking with one local woman, and she went on to tell him the story of the time she encountered a mysterious aquatic humanoid. She described the creature as being 7 feet in length, possessing 2 large black eyes, large webbed hands that had claws, a humanoid-like body, and a face that she described as looking like a demon. The encounter happened while she was on a boat. As she was coming home, she heard a loud knock and knew that she had hit something. She said that sometimes this happens, and in most cases it's either litter that's made its way into the ocean or trees and other debris. However, as she leant over, she saw 2 large black eyes staring back at her. She said she let out a loud scream and quickly left, not wanting to stay in the area with the unknown creature. The father was fascinated with the story and couldn't understand what this woman witnessed. He then decided to do a little digging and see if anyone could shed some light on the mysterious humanoid. When he then asked around about these creatures, he didn't get the response he expected. Instead of being laughed at or mocked, he was actually firmly shut down, being told not to ask those sort of questions. This only caused him to become more interested in the topic and go on to do his own investigations. Although he never pursued it while at work, he said that he spent countless hours doing research on the topic and that these stories of aquatic humanoids may be real. When the daughter asked whether he thinks the Navy are aware of these animals, he paused and said that he thinks they might be, going on to say that there's many divisions within the Navy and they investigate things such as unidentified objects and also strange things seen in and around the ocean. It's reported that he got talking with another man who had been in the Navy for over 20 years, and he said that while on a submarine, they detected a mysterious object moving at hundreds of knots. The odd thing about this was that it kept flicking in and out of the radar, which he said made it difficult to know what it was. Again, this former worker shared stories about strange creatures that had been found by the United States Navy, but said that he never conducted any of his own research on the matter, saying that although he was interested, it was likely that he wouldn't get very far. One interesting report comes from Zimbabwe. Unlike the cute animated portrayals of the mythical creature, the mermaids of Zimbabwe have been a recurring problem for those living nearby large waterways in the country, as the humanoid creatures have reportedly been at the center of a variety of random attacks, vandalism, and delays in construction efforts. Back in 2012, while working on the Gokwe and Osborne dams, the Zimbabwe construction company claimed that nearly every employee had left the construction site in fear for their lives after having been attacked by a strange humanoid river monster known as the Mamba Muntu. It was believed that the Mamba Muntu used the rivers as natural outlets to the ocean and that they had become terribly angered by the construction efforts. Debates were made on whether or not construction should continue before a full report on the environmental impact was made. However, under pressure of contracts and health standards, construction continued regardless. This forced the local council to hire entirely new workers from out of the country to work on the dam, as the locals refused to continue working on the construction of the project due to their superstitions. Oddly enough, after several weeks, even the foreign workers resigned after claiming to have been attacked by humanoid sea creatures and regarded the entire river as being cursed. In an effort to appease these strange creatures, the council was forced to perform cleansing rituals and make offerings to the creatures before construction began again with no further issues. Although most do not make the connection, Zambia, the closest country to Zimbabwe, built the Kariba Dam in the same waterways within their borders. The project was determined to be a necessity in the region, as the water from the river would not only be able to power all of the electrical requirements for that region, but it would also prove to be a major work program that would allow a number of locals to generate income. Unfortunately, many of the religious figures, already suffering under the oppressive hand of the government, felt that the construction of the dam was a violation of the principles of their god, known as Nyaminyami. Nyaminyami was, more specifically, the god of the river Zambezi, and was believed to reside within the river. The religious figures argued that if the dam was built, then Nyaminyami would curse them for messing with the natural ecosystem and bring on a terrible tragedy, urging the locals to defy the government and refuse construction. Despite this sentiment from the religious leaders, many of the locals would still go to work on the construction of the dam, assisting in the government's tactic to force the native Batonga people to move from their homes and live elsewhere. Almost as if directly predicted by the religious leaders, shortly after the Batonga people were moved, a devastating flood tore through the region, and due to the half-construction of the dam blocking the only direction for water to flow, it led to the entire dam becoming destroyed, taking out every single worker that was working on the construction of the project. Oddly enough, not a single worker had been recovered. Given the fact that the majority of those who passed away were locals, this led to many of the relatives begging the religious leaders to help lift the curse and allow the dam to be constructed without any future problems. The religious leaders then gave instructions to the people that the only way for the curse to be lifted was if they offered a calf to the river. For some inexplicable reason, after the ceremony was completed, the workers appeared where the calf was placed in the river, allowing the souls to finally be put to rest. The story of Captain John Smith. According to old myths and rumours published back in 1849, during the year 1611, as Captain John Smith and his crew were travelling around the West Indies, they spotted a strange creature in the waters beside them. The crew described the creature as resembling that of a woman for the upper part of her body, except with a few key changes in her face, such as that of her eyes, of which were described as larger and more round, a short nose, long ears, and bright green hair. The lower part of the creature's body was described as being similar to that of a dolphin's body, and not that of a fish or scales of any kind as other tales of mermaids claim. Interestingly enough, when researchers looked for the source of the tale concerning Captain John Smith and his crew's encounter with the mermaid, they found that the original author for the piece, that was published in 1849, was the author of The Three Musketeers. This has led many skeptics to believe that the stories could have been fabricated. However, at the time, the author was more than well versed in writing articles pertaining to non-fiction and had even co-authored other pieces that involved true stories of encounters with mermaids. This helps to not only prove the author's fascination with the subject, but that the rigorous fact-checking involved with publications at the time more than helped to steer the author clear from fictitious accounts in his works. Still, to this day, many claim that the account is nothing more than a forgery, despite evidence of Captain John Smith and his crew encountering other strange creatures in the sea and often writing about them. The Adarro humanoid. One of the darker tales involving the mythical sea creature known as the mermaid is that of the Adarro. According to old mythologies and accounts, the Adarro are described to be more similar in behavior to that of evil spirits roaming the Pacific Ocean and living at deep depths in the darkest regions of the ocean, though they do share many physical characteristics with that of the mermaid legends. The Adarro are described as looking similar to that of a person, but with large gills behind its ears, a long tail fin instead of feet, a shark-like dorsal fin that can grow into the shape of a large horn, along with a massive shark spear growing out of the top of its head, similar to that of a swordfish or a sawfish. The origin of the creature appears to be far more paranormal in nature rather than that of other means. According to legends surrounding the sea creature, an Adarro is born when a man of evil falls into the ocean and passes away shortly after. This evil then lingers and grows in the ocean, forming the body of the Adarro, of which will continue to grow in numbers. Said to reside close to the Solomon Islands, it appears that these creatures are far more sinister than the traditional mermaid legends and definitely an encounter to be avoided. The ocean covers about 71% of the Earth's surface, but only a small portion of it has been explored in detail. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, we have explored less than 5% of the ocean, with the deepest parts of the ocean remaining largely unknown to us. The lack of exploration is partly due to the sheer size and depth of the ocean, as well as the technological and logistical challenges of conducting research in such an extreme environment. However, advances in technology, such as deep-sea submersibles and remote-operated vehicles, are helping scientists to explore more of the ocean and discover new species and ecosystems. Overall, there is still much to be learned and discovered about the ocean, and ongoing exploration and research will continue to uncover new insights and mysteries. So, what do you make of these mysterious stories? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.